It's another episode of NRG Insights today. But at the moment, we're going through a series of podcasts with external people who help mortgage brokers kind of get their word out there and that kind of thing.
If you do something every day and you do it daily, then you become good at it. And that's when I realized, and that was the shift moment of like, oh, wait a minute, if you do anything every single day, you'll get very good at it. And that was it. Then the rest of it is history. You know, there everything else we teach.
Do you think about doing it every day, right? And this is kind of a close question because I think we all know the answer. But because we are salespeople at heart, brokers, recruiters, whatever, estate agents, and so we understand that you get a lead in, you convert it. That's how we make money. Because it's very transactional. Yeah. But because of social media, you can't stick an ROI on it. You can't genuinely go. It's so long term. It is a great feeling to know that everyone knows who you are, but it doesn't. You know what I mean? It doesn't convert straight away. So, or do you think that is part of the issue? Is that we're so trained into what sales is that X plus Y equals, rather than actually this is a long term thing. Someone's going to find you later on when you need it.
Huge problem. It's a huge problem, and one that like I don't have to battle against it now. I've done it long enough. Yeah. I've done it coming up to 5 years of doing this specific thing. Like I've been doing that. So the proof is there. But gosh, the first couple of years trying to say to people, like when people come on a discovery call with me, which is now is like waiting lists and stuff. But if you get on a discovery call and you want to talk, it's like, I'll say to them straight away, you're not going to get anything for 18 months. So you've got to pay me every month for 18 months. And every time you say, oh, I'm not getting it, I'm going to tell you to shut the fuck up, because that's the way that it's very harsh, tough love, the people I work with.
But they have to accept that, right? Because otherwise on month 2, they're going to go, God, that's X amount of pounds and I haven't seen anything back. Like, it is a long game.
Thousands, people who will work with me, you could be down thousands and thousands before you see anything from it. Yeah. But the ones who have, get that 10x, like the results of like some of the clients afterwards. And that, by the way, is the thing that's not me pitching it. I didn't know that was going to happen. Yeah. Originally, like a lot of this,
but it's first one of the first, right? So what you were doing first, if you're the pioneer in it, you can't say, oh, this is a case study, because no one did it.
I didn't know. And so it was only maybe about a year ago where I had a proper method. A year ago is where it was. And I was actually saying this to Craig Skelton, actually, just before this, we had a call. And I was saying like, there was a shift when I was like, I can take anybody through this method now. Yeah. But a lot of people have had to fail or get halfway there in order to get to that point. Now I am very confident going, okay, if you come with me, then we can get you through this over a certain time, this specific time horizon, you do that, it'll work. But it didn't start like that. And and a lot of it is, and I remember Carla Edwards, who's my longest client and one of my most successful client. Oh, she's insane. Yeah. She does like crazy stuff. And we've worked together for 4 and a bit years. And she said to me, when I signed her up, I was like, it's going to take you 18 months. And, you're going to pay me this much at the time, X amount every month for the next 18 months for nothing. And she jokes about the time. She was like, I remember getting off that call and I've signed it, but I thought, you lying bastard. Like, he's just a robber. He's just going to try and she said, and I said, well, why did you, because we didn't know each other. Now we're very close, but we didn't. And she was like, well, why? I was like, why did you do the work? And she said, because I don't do refunds, because that's just not the way it works in the coaching space. And I was like, but she was like, I did everything you said because I wanted to, in 18 months to say to you, you're going to give me that money back because you lied. And then about a year in, she was like, had like quadrupled her income. And she was like, yeah, you're right. And now it's way more than that. Like, it's insane. But that was the funny thing of like doing things daily. So her motivation might have been to prove me wrong, but it still worked, Do
you hear this side of things? Do you hear like the tangible kind of return on investment that brokers are getting from getting out there?
We get
kind of success stories from it.
Yeah, we've had lots of brokers message me on LinkedIn saying, I've had deals on the back of that, being in this story. I've had someone phone me up directly and say, I read you, I saw your comments in the whatever paper and da-da-da-da. So we get that fairly regularly. I mean, I never say that PR shouldn't be looked at as a, as a lead generator.
ROI, but
it's more about, look, PR ultimately is about credibility and trust. It's like if somebody is Googling you, if you're tapping Riz Malik R3 mortgages and Riz Malik comes up on the BBC and, in the Telegraph and the Daily Mail, you immediately think, this guy knows what he's on about, what he's on about.
Credibility is part of our lead generation strategies. Most people don't want to say
exactly.
It is being trusted partner is and being out there and social proof is part of that, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, that's what, but it does, you pick up the other benefits of Newspage are, you get the exposure, you often pick up backlinks along the way, whether they're do follow or no follow, but you do pick up backlinks. Some of our users have backlinks from national newspaper websites. They're still quite rare these days, but it does happen from time to time. So it's really about credibility, trust, and I think, a lot of our brokers said that, getting into the local media is far more important, often than getting into the Times or the FT, because actually being on your local radio station or in the Gloucester Citizen, if you're a Gloucester mortgage broker, is far more, likely to result in the phone ringing, which is ultimately what everyone wants. So
but that's the interesting thing. See, so I talk to brokers on here who have massive followings on Twitter and Facebook and obviously LinkedIn, and they smash social media and same as this. And it's interesting to talk about, like, it's a genuine return on investment in the sense that you do get more business out of it. It's not just a dick swinging, I got my name out there. Like, it's an important part of growing a business.
Yeah, we encourage people to put, on their homepage of their websites, as featured in, and, the Times, the Telegraph. Now, you don't necessarily want to use their logos for copyright reasons, but, you can link to that coverage on your homepage. And, it just, when someone comes to your site for the first time, they can see that you've been in the major media outlets. It does create a degree of trust. So, we encourage that.
Good. And so for brokers that have looked at it or sort of played with it and they're not really got down to it, because this is, I liken it to social media in the sense that everyone knows they need to do it, and then some people, maybe it's not, they don't know how to. If you aren't as opinionated as some of maybe the bigger voices in it, but you want to get it out there. I mean, how do people start? What would you recommend is the first thing to?
Well, the first thing is not be disillusioned, or if you don't get media coverage the first time you use Newspage, don't suddenly think it doesn't work. I think we get some people who expect, they've seen the coverage generates, they do it once or twice, and they don't get. We can't guarantee that you're going to get through, each time, but the more you do it, you will get picked up by the media, and the more you get picked up, the more chance that a journalist will use you in the future as well.
Is because you don't see the tangible return on investment. It's not guaranteed. It's not like you buy 10 leads off the internet, they complete your 10%, so you get one mortgage deal out of it. It's hard to define that.
So, my observation, and I come in peace. I don't say it like in a judgy way, and I'm the same. By the way, these are my people. Yeah. This is just a genuine industry issue. Yeah, and it's just an observation, and I'm not. Obviously, it's a general comment, but you might be the exception. So if you're listening to this, you might be the exception, or you might not see this blind spot. But I've come to learn this, that mortgage advisors are very good at closing the deal. Once someone is ready to buy and they know they need a mortgage and they are speaking to the broker, they are able to complete that process all the way through.
Yeah, the technicalities of the job is what they've got down, right? That's why they're brokers. That's the bit that they should be really good at.
Yeah, that's the bit that they're good at. So on reflection, I think that's because they majority start out in an employed role or in a role that is self-employed, but the leads are given to you.
Yeah.
So I've seen it so many times over the course of 3 years that I work with newly self-employed advisors, and by newly I mean 3-5 years, maybe even 10 years, but have come from the mentality of the leads were always provided to me. I managed to close 70% of them, and now the mindset has to switch from I can close deals to I can generate deals. And that's the difference, is that when you're on social media or you're doing SEO or pay-per-click, or you're doing networking, you have to switch that mindset from this is not a customer, this customer is not ready yet. We are building a relationship. And so you're going so far behind in the process that you're normally used to, that you get agitated or aggravated or frustrated with the fact that these aren't closing, which is why I feel like social media, advisors can be skeptical with social media, because the customers aren't ready to buy yet, so they can't see past that. We are building brand awareness, we are building we're building relationships, we're building credibility, trust. That comes first. When a customer knows that they need a mortgage and they've known you for a while and they've decided that you're the mortgage broker for them, that's when you can shine and do all your closing techniques that you know how to do and give them all the advice and hand holding, because they're ready. But I think brokers need to get better and just change the mindset at building that awareness, building trust before the customer's actually ready to buy.
It's the long-term thought process, right? Because the leads are instant gratification because they convert at 10, 15% and you get them. But actually building a business around yourself, we're all lead generators, aren't we? We're all marketeers. We are speaking to people. Interesting enough about that stat, and I don't know if it's the same for brokers, but we're really interested. We probably work with about 9% of the people that we speak to at the moment. However, we know over the next 5 to 10 years, we'll be able to help 80% of those. So we just can't help them now. But if you treat everyone like if it's a long game and everyone I speak to, I will be able to help at some point, it makes it much easier. But we're all very, and understandably, we're all driven by, we need to earn money, we need to, we need the financial reward. But the financial reward is a long-term gain, isn't it? It's actually picking up the relationship side of things is so much more long-term than get a lead, fix it. And I think that's come to light over the last year where the market's got tougher. I think you can spot the guys who've been concentrating on relationships, and I think, and this is not just mortgages, this is any business. If you've been concentrating on short-term transactions to get cash in the door as opposed to long-term relationships, I think it's bitten a lot of people on the arse over the last year. If I'm honest, I think it's come to fruition. So hopefully that gives people a better understanding of what you do and why it takes longer and that kind of thing. Hopefully the last year has made people a bit clearer as to what's more important.